Come along with me, Aisha A.K. Lesh of Living Lesh, as I wander the world with my girls, my husband and son, and sometimes by myself. In this time, let's experience Rome, Italy in 24 hours. This trip to Rome was actually in connection to a Mediterranean cruise we were taking with Windstar Cruises. Since it was staying overnight, we hopped off the boat at the port, went to the local train station, got a ticket, made sure it was valid, which is very important, and got on our train ride. The train ride was a little bit over an hour, but it was very easy. And once we got off, we took a bus. So it was only a little bit of a ride. So we made it to our hotel, which was the Palazzo Trevi, which is only moments, literally walks from the Trevi Fountain. We got in somewhat late, but it still gave us enough time in the evening to settle down, get into the hotel, which was less than $200 a night, and be able to start our 24 hours in Rome. So we just arrived in the actual inner city of Rome after taking about a 40-minute train ride from Civitavecchia. I'm gonna butcher that name all the time. It's the port. Then we had to walk a little bit, like a little bit, hop on a train that was another 20 minutes, and then we had to walk to our hotel. Now our hotel, we were staying at the Palazetto Trevi, which is literally 30 seconds from the Trevi Fountain. So it's in a very touristy area. Having to navigate to it with our carry-ons that we took from the boat was a little bit difficult, especially on the cobbled roads, but we made it work. And then with this hotel, you actually can check in after they leave. They leave around 4, then there's a code on the door you get in, and then you can just get your key. It's like a self-check-in kind of situation. But we are in the room. It's like a nice little boutique kind of hotel. We're about to check it. We just checked in with our self-check-in. We're about to go find some food and drinks and just kind of roam around Rome for the night. Since it is late, we didn't get here till about 6 o'clock, so it's dark outside. Just gonna go see what we can find. Hopefully we can find some Christmas-y areas and just kind of celebrate those lights since we won't be here tomorrow night in Rome. Since we arrived during the holiday season, this was about the week before Christmas, we were obviously there where a lot of the holiday festivities were set up. So we walked around, saw a lot of lights. If you're someone who's coming in late and looking for food, a place to get drinks, little treats, my best recommendation is to kind of get farther away from the Trevi Fountain and just walk and look at the menus. Everyone has different places that they want to eat and drink. We just kind of popped into places that we saw, ended up finding this local shop that served charcuterie boards as well as sandwiches. We went to a different place where we got some aperitifs right before we actually got the sandwiches. And then of course we went to one of the more popular places to go, which is Venchi, which is a gelato place. It's super affordable. You go in, you ask for a cone, you get 2 flavors if you choose to, and you can just pick it up and leave. We spent like maybe a few minutes getting our order ready. We got it. I couldn't believe how delicious it tasted. I ended up wanting to go back the next day and try to get some as well, but the lines were a little longer. But later in the evening, especially during the winter time, it is a lot calmer and less busy. We didn't really have a plan our first night of the places we wanted to go. We saved a lot of our itinerary for the next day during the day, but we just decided it was a great place to just start walking around and see what we can find. Rome is a place you can explore, especially if you're near the Trevi Fountain. Of course, Rome is expansive, so if you're looking to go to the Vatican City, you are taking a bus or a local transit. But we decided to walk around. We checked out some of the places lit up at night, such as the Pantheon, and then eventually stumbled upon this cute little Christmas market where there were local vendors selling things. We got some Christmas ornaments. We looked at a lot of the architecture in the area. saw some of the shows, looked at some of the nativity scenes and the setup, and even got to ride the carousel. And while we were out, we grabbed a couple more drinks at some of the local spots. They were a little busy because it's right near the Christmas market, which is very popular during the Christmas season. But it was great to be out there later in this evening and just kind of experiencing Italy and experiencing what it has to offer. Now, if you're not there during the holiday season, a lot of these open areas where markets are held are actually open with other occasions or events. So just make sure to just kind of walk around and see what you find. After the Christmas market, we walked around a little bit more, found some restaurants and spots just to take note of, and then walked back towards our hotel where we ended up at the Trevi Fountain since it's only steps away, which was super busy, so we decided to save it for the next day. Getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning, we arrived before daybreak so that we can get to the Trevi Fountain to take some pictures before the crowds accumulated.
So we have made it this morning. We are at the Trevi Fountain super early. You can see it in the background here. We were able to get up around 6:15. We were out here by 7:15 when the sun just started coming up around 7:30 to then come and take pictures. It's actually not that bad this early. Granted, it's also off season. We're out here in the winter, but you can also see we're out here in short sleeves. Jess has nothing on, basically. We have our coats, but it's not as cold as you would think. So we're out here doing good. We have a half day in Rome and then we get to get back on the boat, but having a good time. Jess is about to do her vlogging thing with this obnoxious stick that we have. Well, she has, not we. I'm not in this, but excited to keep touring around Rome.
Newsflash, you're in it because it's a 360-degree camera.
Good.
One tip I do want to emphasize about the Trevi Fountain is that if you're planning to come to take pictures in front of the fountain without crowds, I highly recommend getting there before daybreak and just kind of being there as the sun come up. It gets busy quite early. There was a crowd starting to form right at 6 a.m. and then it was getting larger and larger, even during the winter with us being there that early. After getting pictures and getting changed, we walked over to Cafe Trevi, which is only steps away from the Trevi Fountain. If you get there at a good time, you could actually get your order and sit right next to the Trevi Fountain and overlook the crowds and the view while enjoying breakfast. The Palazzo Doria Pamphilji is a hidden gem in Rome. Only about a 5-minute walk from the Trevi Fountain, you can find yourself at this palazzo that is filled with art and a lot of history. We got this recommended to us by doing some research on Instagram, as well as just hearing about other hidden gems. We got there right upon opening, and we were actually the only ones walking in at the time. And even while we were there the entire time, there wasn't a mass of crowds. So it's a great place to go if you're not looking to be within a lot of the crowds. And from hearing other people who traveled to Rome during the spring and summer seasons, this was still a great place to go to avoid the crowds because it didn't get as busy. The art here is absolutely stunning, and you could probably spend hours walking through each room and just adoring everything that you're seeing. We spent maybe an hour and a half here, also to adding to the fact that we did take pictures. You are able to take video and pictures from what we were told. We weren't told anything otherwise, but one great place to go while you're here, which is highly recommended, is to one of their hallways, which is also known as their kind of hallway of mirrors. It's this beautiful ornate hallway with open lighting, and you can walk through, and it was just absolutely stunning to just look around and see the amount of architecture and detail that went into the entire room. While here, there is a listening tour that we did take part in, so we were able to listen to the history. Again, this is a place you could probably spend hours, if not a half a day here, but depending on the amount of time you have, you might want to just kind of focus on some of the areas and go through. If you're spending longer time there, and if you're there during the spring and summer, they also do have an outdoor cafe that you can visit and get some cocktails and enjoy some bites. After our morning visit at the Palazzo, we headed over to the Pantheon, which again was still in walking distance. We hadn't needed public transit by then. And upon arrival, there was a great crowd, but it was not very busy. Now again, we are here during the winter season, so the crowds are a lot lighter, but everything is still open. If you're going during the spring or summer, you kind of want to get there early. Upon our arrival, we did not buy tickets ahead of time. There were actually 2 kiosks right outside where you can just kind of click on a timed entry, enter at the time, and go in and explore. We were able to actually get in about 5 minutes close to our time, enter in, take a look around, sit, read a lot about the history, and then spent about maybe a half an hour there before heading down closer to the Colosseum. To get to the Colosseum from the Pantheon, we did have to take a taxi, which was a super quick ride. They tend to drive very fast in Italy, but there were more crowds at the Colosseum, even with it being winter, so just kind of prepare for extra crowds to be down here.
So we just stopped by the Colosseum, which you can see in the background. After exploring in around the Trevi Fountain, we went to the Pantheon. We did some things we were able to walk to, and then we hopped in a taxi, which we called through the Uber app, and came over here to the Colosseum. We just kind of got some pictures outside, not quite going in because it is busy even during the December months. We're gonna actually go down to the Roman Forum area and walk around and just explore a little bit, but so far it's been fun. We have a few more hours left in Rome until we have to head back and get on the boat.
Because the crowds were a little bit thicker down here at the Colosseum, we opted not to actually go in and instead just walk down to the Roman Forum, where we look at a lot of the ruins. It is very open, very scenic, and you can listen to local people playing music, as well as just kind of exploring the area. We loved being just able to walk and explore while in Rome. I think that's what it's really meant to be. And this was just one of the more downtimes part of the day.
We found Jess in the wild with her stick that I loathe. So this is what she looks like, but this is the tame version of the stick. So we're talking about Jess and her stick. Sometimes it's in front of her, sometimes it's above her, and this is a low setting.
While in the area of the Colosseum in the Roman Forum, I definitely also recommend visiting the altar of the Fatherland. It is about a 5-minute walk from the Colosseum, depending on how fast you walk. And once you get there, it is free to enter. You actually walk up the steps, and depending on what time you come, you actually can see the changing of the guards right out front. We arrived there right in time to see it, and it was actually a very cool experience to witness. A little thing to note when going to the altar of the Fatherland is once you start going up, you have to continue. There are 3 levels and 3 large staircases, and it is a bit of a hike up, but the views are really worth it. And even if you allow your party to continue, they cannot come back down and get you, so it's upwards and onwards. Again, the views are immaculate, even when you get all the way to the top. If you're not planning on going to the Vatican that day, because it is a bigger commitment depending on what you're doing in those 24 hours, you can see the Vatican from on top of the altar of the Fatherland. And then of course in Rome, you'll probably want to find a place to eat and drink. There is the Trevi rooftop that overlooks the Trevi Fountain. It is a little bit pricier, so I don't highly recommend, but one place I do tell you to go to is the Deroma Restaurant, which is right in that same area. It is not as touristy, but it can get busy very quickly. simply because the food is great, the drinks are that great, and the people who work there are absolutely so hospitable. One thing we did when we walked in is we asked for recommendations on what to eat and drink. And in order to give us pairings, they prepared things that we were just interested in that were light and great to eat. And one of the things I definitely caught on to was after a while, they kept giving us additional things to try. We kept saying how much we want to pay for this, and they said, no, we're Italian. We're here to make sure that you eat and that you're happy, and we absolutely love that. It is one of the places I highly recommend visiting if you're in the Trevi Fountain area, because it was one of the best places that I had to eat while we were visiting there. The drinks were immaculate, the service was immaculate, like I said, and if you don't go, you're definitely missing out.
The ricotta is not too, the cheese is not too overwhelming. Yeah. Nice thin crust, good flavor, very light. I got my little lemon toast pretty too hot.
After 24 hours, we are back on the train towards the port, which ended our time in Rome.
So we've made it back to the ship. That was the end of our less than 24 hours in Rome. There is a lot you can do in a short time, and I kind of wanted to share, like, if you're doing a port stop in Rome, how you can fully experience it. Because Civitavecchia, which is the port, is so far away from City Rome, I highly recommend booking a hotel room if you really kind of want to stay there late, but also saying it is possible to travel in there via the train and then travel back late at night. Just have to make sure that you're aware of all the train stops. So we were able to get back. We left Rome around 3, took a bus to the main train station, took the train back, which was about an hour and 40 minutes on the train, a little less, hour 40 minutes the total to get back, but it was about an hour and 4 minutes on the train. Came back, got on the boat with plenty of time. We have about 45 minutes for that, but that was our stay in Rome. If you would like to see what we're doing at the other ports, make sure you click that subscribe button so that you can stay connected and see what else is going on, not only with the Windstar cruise, which you will see that you probably have already seen it. If you haven't, go back. That is the first part, just kind of covering the entire experience on this cruise. And then we have now this Rome port, but we'll be doing other ones where we go to, I'll be sharing the port start in Livorno, when we go to Nice, Marseille, and Barcelona. So again, hit that subscribe button and make sure to stay connected, and catch you next time. Bye.